Welcome to the very first transfer talk of this summer, and I'll be basically going to make these videos as often as I can. If there's any breaking news, then I'll try and make a video as quickly as I can. Sometimes they might be on my iPad, so the quality might be a bit different, or they'll be on my normal setup, which is this one right now at home. But again, I just want to make these like I did last year, maybe hopefully make them a bit better as well. But first off, we're basically going to go through which ones are the links that we've been linked with at the moment, and obviously the big one that we're going to start with right now is Mohamed Salah from AS Roma. Now, I was interested in Salah when we were first in for him a few years ago when he decided to go to Chelsea. And he went to Chelsea and it didn't necessarily pan out there. Now, I think he's come out himself and said that when we missed out on him, it wasn't a case that apparently, and this is apparently the quote from the player himself, Salah, saying that it wasn't because he didn't want to come to Liverpool. He apparently really liked Liverpool, but the deal fell through because we took too long. We took too long, we stumbled, we stuttered, which was, as Liverpool fans yourselves, you'll know that is a key thing that always seems to happen with Liverpool. Like back then, we were taking so long to make signings that they went to other clubs. So that's pretty much what happened. Now, I might have these stats the wrong way around. I'm not entirely sure, but it's 19 goals and 15 assists in all competitions, I think. And he's an absolutely ridiculously pacey player. And just picture it, if you will. If you've got Sadio Mane on one side, and then you've got Mohamed Salah on the other side, or apparently, and the same with Mane as well, they can both play centrally if need be, which could, you could then open it up to, if you do the two up top that we did with the likes of Sturridge and Origi and Firmino in the last game of the season, you put those two up top, or you put one of them up top with an actual designated striker. So say you had the way I would do it would be I'd put Mane still out wide somewhere, either more based in the midfield, two up top, maybe you put Origi and you put Salah. Now you've got a big striker, quite a big physically built striker, who can then play in someone who's quite a bit smaller, a lot more pace. I mean, that would be ideal. Or you could do the original setup, which would be the 4-3-3. You could still have Mane on the wing, but then you'd have Salah on the wing as well. And then you can drop Coutinho just that little bit back where he has actually really shone at the latter stages of our season. That would be ideal. And I'm excited that the prospect of this signing, people can talk about, I think people are saying, oh my God, 40 million euros for this player. It's pretty much a similar player, similar amount of money that we ended up paying for Sadio Mane. And look at the player that he turned out to be for us. It's so crucial. Now, the only other thing that is a concern with this sort of signing being Mohamed Salah is an Egyptian player. So when it comes round to the African Cup of Nations, is that going to be a problem? Because when it comes down to that, yeah, we're going to end up having to, can you imagine if he turns out to be a signing similar to Mane and you lose both of them in January? It's not a good one to look at. And I don't know if the competition happens every year or it happens every 2 years. I can't remember. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. But that would be a concern. But if it happens only once every 2 years, then fine. For this year, that's not really going to be a great deal of a problem, I don't think. I think it would be an excellent signing. Now, the likelihood of it happening, every single outlet is saying that it's quite close. Sky Sports have been saying that, I think, that we've upped our bid up to 35 million. We had a 28 million one rejected. Apparently, we've met the asking price that Roma are looking for the player, which, fine. Why not always try and meet the asking price? Always go try and... It's like buying a house, guys. It's like trying to buy a house. Go a little bit below and see what you can get. But if you can't get it cheaper, meet the asking price. Meet the asking price and you should be okay. Now, I think there's all different types of reports from beIN Sports and stuff like that. Not the most reliable of sports, of links and stuff like that. Reporters, that's what I mean. Saying that apparently he's already agreed personal terms and all this sort of stuff. But I'm not gonna get carried away. I think he'd be an excellent signing for Liverpool. I really, really do. But let's wait until it's way more concrete. I'm always a firm believer of, I don't believe a transfer until he's sat on that Liverpool background behind him, signing an actual contract. I never do. I will never get carried away with a link. So, let me know what you think of that one in the comments below, because I think it could be an excellent signing for Liverpool. I really, really do. Another big one could be the possible talks that are surrounding Lacazette for Liverpool. Now, there's a lot of things that could go in our favour in this one. Other key things would be Arsenal not getting in the top four. Now, one of the things that Lacazette is wanting is he wants to be guaranteed Champions League football. So Arsenal, I thought, would be in the front runners for Lacazette. They've been wanting to get Lacazette or they've been linked with him for years, and some fans that seem to question that. Although I do have to question sometimes. They say, "Oh, he's only played in the French league, and he bangs goals in left, right, and centre there." Yet when they got linked with Kylian Mbappe, they were all like, "Sign him, sign him, sign him, sign him." And it's like, okay, Lacazette has done it for a few years and scored a good amount of goals every single season. Mbappe's had a good one season, and he's a young lad. I'm not saying that Mbappe doesn't, deserve all of the hype that he has around him, but, I just think I would have thought that Arsenal would have been maybe a couple of years ago. If you'd have brought Lacazette in a couple of years ago at Arsenal, and then you've also still got Sanchez, Ozil, blah, 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 all those sorts of bits, they could have been doing way better. Anyway, enough of that. The other one was Atletico Madrid's transfer ban. So that actually now means that Antoine Griezmann has signed a new contract there. So he's going to be staying there. He says, I think a quote of his was, it would have been a really dirty move to try and move now. So basically that takes him out of Man United's running. So they're going to have to look for someone else as well. And Lacazette's prime destination apparently was to go to Atletico Madrid. Now, we can offer Champions League football. And I think he would be a great signing. He's got good stats in League On, but, I do think that he could do it in the Premier League. I think he's that type of striker that, with the correct service, he could be like a right-footed Daniel Sturridge, hopefully without the injuries. Okay, now I do think that it would be, if he can't get his primary destination, which is Atletico Madrid, he may turn around and just be like, you know what, I'm going to stay at Lyon. And that'd be perfectly respectable, because then he's he can guarantee himself maybe a move to Atletico next year, or whenever they can start signing players again. But I think it's one that maybe Liverpool should look at, considering our striking options at the moment. Now, people are saying that yes, we do have quite a few strikers, but Sturridge doesn't solve all the problems by performing well in the last couple of games. He performed very, very well, no doubt whatsoever. But his injury problems are such an issue that we have to take care of. Now, maybe you could get lucky and you get another season out of him where he plays, over 75% of the games. But I doubt it. I really do. And as much as I like Daniel Sturridge, I do think you've got to start looking for a replacement, because he's a very good player, very, very talented player, but you need to have him all the season. You have him throughout the season, he makes such a difference. But if you don't, and especially with the Champions League campaign coming up as well, where we've still got to go through the playoffs, I think it would be very important here as well. You saw the drop-off in Origi and his performances as well later on in the season, and overall in the overall season, he didn't impress a great deal. Firmino has been the most consistent performer, but he didn't really come in as a striker, and he did perform very, very well, but even he was prone to having a bit of a drop-off here. You've got to have the options. You really do have to have the options, and I do think that bringing someone in like Lacazette could be a very good deal for Liverpool, because I think it'll just make them stronger and a bit more of a threat in attack as well. And I do, again, just like I was saying about the Mohamed Salah deal there, imagine having a front three, or the options that you have up front. Mane, Salah, Lacazette, or if you go with a front two, you could do Lacazette and Origi, Lacazette and Sturridge. So many different options there that would cause a threat to anybody in the Premier League, any of our cup games, and the Champions League as well. So I think it's a good one to consider. I'm positive about it if we were to go for it, but what do you think in the comments below, please? And the next big one would have to be the Virgil van Dijk deal. Now, apparently it's between us, Man City and Chelsea are in the race to try and sign Virgil van Dijk. Quoted at 50 million to buy him, 200 grand a week he'd be earning. And defence is desperately one of those areas that we need to improve. And he would be a massive upgrade, I think, on Lovren. Now, Lovren's been okay. How he ended up on some list that I read a while ago as the 9th best defender in Europe, I have no idea. But he's on there. I don't know how, I don't know if he's still on there now, but that was one of the things, not Not in my opinion, anyway, but there we go. But I think Van Dijk would be an excellent partner alongside Joel Matip. I really, really do. I think he'd be absolutely excellent. You know, is he worth 50 million? I don't know. But that's the price that they're asking. So that's the price that you got to pay. Now, if it goes any further than that, I'm not entirely sure that Liverpool will go in for it, because the spending power of Man City will probably overtake that. And the spending power of Chelsea as well. Let's be real here. The spending power of those two clubs, they've been spending money for seasons after seasons after seasons and bringing in the best players that they can. We kind of can do that, but not to the extent there where like Man City can give Guardiola 300 million to spend, and he's been doing it pretty handily already, bringing in 3 big signings that he's needed. He literally, season ends, and about a week later he's made 3 signings. That's unreal. The key thing for Liverpool here is if they are going to act, they have to do it quick. They have to do things quick. And I know that Jurgen Klopp is very passionate about wanting people. He wants all of his signings done before the 1st of July so that he can have them in for pre-season, which is so vital. And I think it's definitely vital if you're going to bring in a defender. As good as he is, you want to bring them in as soon as possible. So I think that if we manage to get him, I'd be very, very pleased with it. I don't care how much it costs, because it's not my money at the end of the day, so I'm not really that bothered. If I was spending 50 million, I'd be questioning, well, where did I get 50 million from in the first place, and why am I just, you know... Anyway, you know what I mean. I think it'd be a very good signing for Liverpool, and one that they desperately need. It's all well and good looking at forwards and stuff like that as well. We've got a lot of different, you know, different forwards, different options in the midfield. Defence and goalkeeping are my priorities. Now, left back is my main issue with Liverpool at the moment, and I don't really have any ideas of who Liverpool could go for that are gonna, or that who are available first of all, and who would actually come to Liverpool. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. You guys are probably gonna have to help me out a little bit on that. Maybe, you know, send something my way. Maybe drop a comment in the comments box below and just say, look, have a look at such and such and this, that, and the other. Anybody that we might be linked with, because I tell you now, it's going to be... Left back is an iffy position. We cannot have James Milner being our left back next season. As good as Milner was excellent. He really, really was. He was brilliant in a role that he didn't want to play at the start of the season, and he did it so well. He really did. The fact that he was rated as one of the top left backs in the Premier League that season, unbelievable. For a player that isn't a left back, absolutely unbelievable. But we need to have somebody there. Alberto Moreno's probably not going to make it. He will probably end up moving on. Maybe he'll stick around and he'll get into some of the cup competitions so that we can have a bit of a bigger squad. But I don't know about Alberto Moreno. But left back is an absolutely vital one for me, and goalkeeper as well. As good as Mignolet has been, we don't know what's going to happen with Karius. Mignolet had a good end to the season. He did very, very well, I've got to admit. But he can't do this thing where he seems to start seasons quite slow, and he works his way in, and he does have quite a good end of season overall. It's not what we should be having to rely on when we could have the Champions League coming up this season. You've seen the power of the big teams in the Champions League. It's unbelievable, the squad depth that they have. Now, I'm not saying that Liverpool are gonna go into the Champions League and hope and into the next season and hope to have squad depth like Real Madrid do. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But we have to make sure that we build now, start the building this summer, get a good foundation, good building all over the place, and then we can build on season after season after season, build some consistency around the club overall, not just in performances, not just in, you know, the cup competitions and the league, but also making sure that we're refreshing players. We're not just keeping hold of players that are not necessarily going to make it, or as people call them, as deadwood. We've got to make sure that we are building from here on and forevermore, basically. Too many times Liverpool have stood still in the past in transfer windows. Now they have to get moving. They have to step forward, be counted, and get the correct players in that we need. Defence, left back, and another goalkeeper is definitely my priority. Let me know what you guys think of that. All of that in the comments below. Get your thoughts in. Who do you think Liverpool could go for, will go for, and who do you think they will get? Let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please drop a like on this video. I will be covering other Premier League teams when big deals are made. So let me know who you want me to talk about, or if there's anybody in particular you think, links-wise, linked to anybody, let me know. I'll talk about them. Thanks very much for watching, as always, and I'll catch you later.